सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ पार्थाय प्रतिबोधितां भगवतां नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वामनुसन्ददामि भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणी।
So welcome to you all. So we are meeting for the fifth time in Gita class. So as usual, this class also we will share some introductory points, then try to summarize some of the important aspects of the previous class. Then we will take up some new slokas. So this Arjuna's mind was malfunctioning, and Lord Krishna used neurotic therapy. That is what one of the commentators put. But by imparting Vedic truth, scriptural therapy for Arjuna's neurotic problem with Vedic truth. But that is not only applicable at that time, it is applicable throughout the lifetime of the universe for the human race. Please mute your this thing. I am hearing sound. So that is why now also we are sharing the essence of Bhagavad Gita to apply. So second thing, see, mind is the person, the individual. If mind is good, the person is good. If the mind is bad, the person is bad. If the mind is happy, the person is happy. That is what the normal parlance, normal way. So here, the mind has objective aspects and subjective. Both are there for the mind. Now, outside objects, they create impulse in the mind. Then that is objective impulses. Now, within the mind, one person start reflecting on those impulses from his own perspective. That's subjective aspect. The objective aspect and subjective aspect should work in harmony. That is the change Bhagavad Gita will make in us. So this is another way of looking into these things. Then, but Bhagavad Gita, from time to time, it needs interpretation as per the present scenario. So that is why so many Swamijis, after Adi Shankara's Bhashyam has come for Bhagavad Gita, they have given their interpretation, and we are sharing 3 or 4 commentary of Adi Shankara's Bhashyam. That's why every time we are having new introduction. So this is another thing. See, now one of the commentators very nicely put, that is, if we close the doors and switch off our mobile and sit for some time, it's a very interesting aspect. He says, nothing is required to get displeased. It's the opposite. A final understanding will be the opposite. Now, initially for normal people, they cannot sit quiet for some time. So what happens here? Some thought or other thought will come, some desire will come, and then the person has to go somewhere, open the door, or start the mobile. That is what. It is not possible to sit quiet for some time. So there is nothing is required to get displeased. That is what human mentality. Here, the desires which the person gets, they are time bound. any desire. For example, if he wants to call a person, discuss with him, or if he wants to find out some other thing to purchase and everything, all these things are time bound. That's what Bhagavad Gita says. If you are not displeased, if you are not pleased with yourself, you will remain displeased always. This is the teaching we will be able to understand once we cover the other things of Bhagavad Gita. Actual teachings will start from next class, starting with the preparation. Now we are discussing so many teachings only from the point of mind control and sense control. These both we are discussing from the point of a jnani, that is the wise person, how he lives in the world. Some of them will be deliberately put by the aspirant, that is seeker. So that is the other thing. That is why we are getting so many aspects, so many teachings before we actually start the text. The actual text from preparatory procedure I am planning from next class. Before that we are actually having the 5th class with introduction, and also it is a kind of positioning ourselves for the pursuit in a convenient place, so that adopting and preparing with other disciplines and everything will be little easy. Now it is actually positioning ourselves in the correct place. So here we are discussing the aspect of a wise person. Some of them, like mind control and sense control, will be very useful when we come to preparatory. Now Bhagavad Gita has got one more unique presentation. You see, Vedanta is jnana, that knowledge. Jnanam is opposed to emotions, normal worldly emotions. But what happens here, Bhagavad Gita is a unique text. It gives so much importance to bhakti. Bhakti is not opposed to emotion. You can clearly you can discriminate. Jnanam is opposed to emotion. Bhakti is not opposed. So Bhagavad Gita, what it contains more than 30-40% various teachings related to bhakti. So what happens? First person, usually we are all habitual to emotional fluctuations, so we like bhakti. So Bhagavad Gita takes us to confidence by approaching jnanam through bhakti. In the Bhakti Marga, the 9th stage of bhakti is jnana. But Bhagavad Gita starts from the first stage. That is the beauty of Bhagavad Gita. It takes us to confidence using bhakti, then it teaches jnana. This is another great aspect of Bhagavad Gita, that is a unique aspect which is not in any other jnana grantha. Now, some things of the previous class we will just go through, then we will take up the new class slokas. See, last time we saw some prerequisites from the point of Panchamaha, that is 18.5 sloka. That covers only few aspects, but Bhagavad Gita in the chapter 3 also, then chapter 4 also, and the chapter 18 also has got lot of things about the sacrifices and the contributions we have to make, so that the mind purification and the attachments to the accumulating assets will reduce. So that is there in Bhagavad Gita. A lot of slokas are there, but we have taken only the 18.5. So sacrifices to the human being, sacrifice to the animals and plants, sacrifices to the elders and parents, sacrifices to the scriptures. That we are doing means what? Contribution to the scriptures means sharing the scriptural knowledge, and the contribution to the religious thing. All these things are from the point of individual, from the point of society, or specific sacrifices are dealt in very lot of chapters in Bhagavad Gita. That is one thing. Then another aspect is the meditation. Meditation is we discussed. So asana and meditation and pranayama. One sloka we discussed. This is meditation in with respect to the Deepa one we discussed. That is Yada Deepo Nivadasto Nengade Shova Vaspada. That one is a little contemplation meditation that is abiding in Atma. Okay, that is not actually normal meditation. So that meditation is little higher level meditation. So that also we discussed. Then we discussed about routine. Routine is very much given importance. That is yoga in routine. That is moderation, balancing, and appropriate. All the aspects in the 24-hour cycle. That is sleep, waking period, and working and relaxing. That is working also, systematic working also is told in the Bhagavad Gita. That is the 17th sloka of 6th chapter. Yukta ahara viharasya yukta cheshtasya karmasu yukta swapnava bodhasya yoga bhavati dukkha. So that is also there. That is systematic working that we discussed in our career development. You can refer. Compartmentalize and everything was suggested by so many things. So systematic working also is dealt in the Bhagavad Gita. Then meditation is over. Then we come to food also we discussed before one aspect, but food just we highlighted about sattvic food, rajasic food and tamasic food. It's a big subject, but Bhagavad Gita has got lot of other things. So we discussed and we pointed out that food is also given very high importance by classification of 3 values of food. So here for this pursuit of self-knowledge, food with respect to sattvic quality should be increased. And food of rajasic quality should be moderate for whatever our minimum activity required and your working conditions and everything. And food of tamasic quality should be avoided. That is to be noted. So that then now coming to this class, we have to continue the mind control aspect. So mind control aspect I will complete, then we will take up some new things. That is the last 2 slokas of last class. That is we have to withdraw the mind to the thing which facilitates its movement. Means the object of distraction can be made the object of meditation. That is the sentence used in the commentary. So here it is a very little subtle thing. When we sit for meditation or sit quiet, mind goes somewhere. From one object to another object it jumps. So here Bhagavad Gita says we have to withdraw the mind from the object of distraction to the object of meditation. So the object of meditation is what? Bhagavad Gita says it is the consciousness. How the mind moves? For the mind to move, there should be a medium. See, even Patanjali Yoga Sutra thinks mind is thought. Even our psychiatry, mind is a thought. For the thought is an inert thing. But how? One thought comes, stays for some time, goes away. Another thought comes, goes away. So for the thought to attract our attention or take the importance from us, it is to be sentient. How it gets sentience? Because it is moving in a medium of consciousness. So here some examples are there. So one example is, it was striking from Swami Chinmayananda. That is, I have discussed with our senior students, that when any thought through the mind, in the mind, or any sound, or any object in the field of sight, or imagine the taste or smell, if it comes around us, the consciousness bearing the mind is going through the sense organs and saturate that thought. In psychiatry and in normal discussion, we tell, even if something comes in front of us, we don't notice sometimes, because we tell it is not registered in the mind. So I used to discuss about the video camera and our eyesight when we go out. When we go out about half a kilometer, 1 kilometer, go to the place of destination. All the things which has gone into the eyes will not be recollected by us. Only some odd things will be registered and recollected. But if we keep a video camera in our head and go for 1 kilometer, after going there, everything will be replayed. So there is what this is the place where the eyesight is opposite to camera. The physics learning in the school, high school level is totally wrong. We compare that. But in normally also we think that okay, the light is falling on the object and it comes into the eyes. No. The consciousness wherein the mind goes through the eyesight and catches it. That is called registration in psychiatry, in modern science. Only if it happens, we remember. That's why when we move out, only odd things get registered and we remember. So this aspect is only taken for meditation here. So in the field of consciousness, thought moves. So you bring your attention from the thought to the medium, that is consciousness, to the field, that is consciousness. That is what discussed in mind control. So here one example I myself made. We can have two things. One, you can imagine yourself, and another I will tell you. One is when we are in a submarine, many things in the under the sea will be visible. So that you can just keep in your mind, and that you extrapolate with another example. This is a bird sanctuary. See, bird sanctuary, we go for what? For watching the birds with various sizes, colors and forms and everything. And there will be tall trees also. So what attracts us? The movement of birds in the sky, flying birds. So what happens? One bird will be a little beautiful. Another sound will come. Immediately the other bird will catch our attention. Then another bird. So this bird, then two birds will be playing. So like that we will be, that different birds will be catching our attention. These birds are example for thoughts. Now tall trees will be there naturally. On the top of the tree there will be birds. So if some sound comes from the tall tree, immediately our mind will go, or our sight will go, mind will go behind that and try to catch the sight of the bird. So what happens here? The stationary things like tall trees and the moving things like flying birds catch our attention. But they move because of the space. So here we just see the bird sanctuary birds and come back. But this kind of shifting, when the flying birds catch our attention, it is possible if we tell that divert your attention from the bird to the space, means it is possible, definitely. May not be useful, may not be interested. It is possible. But the same concept will pay some reward if you use this technique for doing meditation. When so many thoughts move here and there and come and go, shift your attention from the thought to the medium in which thought moves. That is consciousness. But the major difference is that will come in the advanced level. The space, sky, trees, birds, they are all in one plane of reality. You are in the space, and you are seeing the sky. Same plane of reality we say, we will discuss there afterwards. But When it comes to consciousness, consciousness is higher plane of reality. That is the only difficult in comprehending consciousness and in this comparison. Submarine thing you can do yourself, same thing, because you will be under the sea, inside the water, you will be seeing the things moving in the water. So shifting the attention from the fishes and other things from the water to water in which they move. But the bird sanctuary example was little more better, so I told you. This is what is told in slogan number 26 of 6th chapter. Yado Yado Nischarati. Okay, that is already over. Then in the 35 also mind control. There the predictability of the mind is very less. Mind is unpredictable. So there is one suggestion. Make it predictable by using japa. Because when you sit, you know what japa you will be doing. Either repetition of same nama japa, or Vishnu Sahasranama, or any kind of that japa. There's a lot of japa now is going on. It has increased because of this restriction in movement in all houses. So that japa will have predictability. Next line, what is coming, you will have an idea. Your mind will concentrate. So japa is one of the technique where we can make the mind predictable. Then this one means shifting the attention from the thought to the concentration is told in a nice way. That is in our Vedanta. That is one line is there. Yatra yatra manoyadi tatra tatra samadhayaha. It's a beautiful expression in Vedanta. That is, when the thoughts attract you, you try to find the media in which the thoughts move. That is concentration. That is consciousness. And you abide in the consciousness. Tatra tatra samadhaya. That is one thing that I want to tell. These are all from the previous classes. Now we have to move to the first sloga of this class. That is from 2nd chapter, sloga number 1-4. Yeah. Start.
Agamapaino nityaha sanktikshasva bharata. Chapter 2, verse 14. Kaunteya, that is Arjuna, the contacts of the sense organs with the sensory world that give rise to cold and heat, pleasure and pain, which have the nature of coming and going, are not constant. Endure them, Bharata, that is Arjuna. That's the translation.
Matra Sparshasa Kaunteya. Here, Bhagavan is highlighting about the sense and sense objects. Sense as well as sense objects belong to the creation, Prakriti. So pleasant things will come, unpleasant things will come. But unfortunately, unpleasant thoughts remain for a long time. That is a different thing. But they come and go. This is because they belong to the same domain, we can say in other language. That is, sense as well as sense objects will come and go because they are in the same set. But you being the consciousness, once you know this, you need not get entangled in the transaction of senses with the sense objects. That is one of the things. This is to be understood and we have to endure it. That is one. So next sloka. Indriyanam hitaratam yam mamo vidhiyatam tadasya harati prajnam vayam navamivamrati. Chapter 2, verse 67.
The mind that follows the wandering senses indeed robs the person of his knowledge, just as the wind carries away a small boat on the waters. That's the translation.
Bhagavan in the 67th verse of second chapter. See, boat or a small boat is taken to somewhere by the moving wind. This example. So this is example given for the sense objects carry away our sense perceptions in the mind. So this is an example. Here, not only that sense objects takes away, we give more value to the sense object. That sense object does not have any value. We only give it. So this is in our hand. Sense objects are not in your hand. Even thoughts may not be in your hand, because the origin of thoughts, there are so many reasons. From the psychic impressions, thoughts originate, and from external stimuli also thoughts originate. They are all not in your control. But we need not add value. Sobhadadhyasa. We need not do. It is in our hand. We tell in our MMT also, we lend the influencing power to the thoughts and objects and stimuli, and we get entangled. That is in your hand. That we can avoid. So here this example is the boat, and it can be extended to a ship also. Sometimes what happens, a shipwreck happens because it gets entangled in the wind and get crashed. So if it is not known, because of the power of the sense objects, sense perceptions, if we don't know the reason, we will get lost and our life will be ruined. So that we have to avoid. So this is one of the method for sense control. So another method is also given in the 58th verse of second chapter. It is given a tortoise example that we can play.
Yada sambharate chayam kurmhonganiya sarvashaha indriyani indriyatebhyaha satya prajna pratishtita.
Chapter 2, verse 58. When, like the turtle that withdraws its limbs, this person is able to completely withdraw the sense organs from their objects, his knowledge is steady. That's the translation.
Now this example is a tortoise. See, tortoise has got a unique power. It can sense some danger when the danger is in a distance also. And it has got that unique power of withdrawing its head, tail, as well as the four limbs into the shell. So this example is that we have to withdraw our senses using our informed intellect. These are all the way to get the intellect informed. Teachings are required for the intellect. So this teaching, Bhagavad Gita is already told, it's one of the it's not a work, it's Bhagavan's this thing, teaching, so available, through which our intellect can be made informed. Then using the informed intellect, we have to withdraw the senses. So this example is a tortoise example. And Pujya Swamiji is telling that our skull is also like a shell of the tortoise. So our senses are there, mainly hearing, listening and taste. So withdraw into the skull. This is also a symbolic expression was there. It's a very nice thing to share. So this is a thing. And next sloka will be 37th. Let's see. Third chapter, 37th sloka.
Shri Bhagavanuvacha Kama eshat krodha eshaha Rajo guna samudbhavaha Mahashano mahapapma विद्येनमिह वैरिणम्
Chapter 3, verse 37. Sri Bhagavan said, "This desire, this anger, born of the guna rajas, is a glutton and a great sinner. Know that to be the enemy here in this world." That's the translation.
Abate.
Here, desire to anger already told, it will be there, but it will be covered in about 5 to 7 slokas, 7 slokas, 5 plus 2, 7 slokas. But these are all born out of Rajoguna. That's why it is told Rajoguna producing or encouraging food should be medium or should be minimum, so that our activities we can take care and it should not bother our mind. Mind is nourished by Sattva Guna related things. So this is a Rajoguna aspect, desire. And here it is told that it is a sinner. Why means this kama, uncontrolled desire, will make the person to do immoral activities, adharmic activities. And later the person will repent. That's why it is told as sinner also. And the kama will lead to krodha, that separately we will see.
धूमेनाव्रियते वह्निः यथादर्शो मलेन च यथोल्बेनावृतो गर्भः तथा तेनेदमावृतम्
Chapter 3, verse 38. Just as the fire is covered by clouds of smoke, just as a mirror is covered by dust, and just as a fetus is covered by the womb, so too knowledge is covered by that is binding desire. That's the translation.
Abate.
Here Bhagavan himself is giving 3 examples when it comes to the desire and the covering of our knowledge. And the interpretations are very important by saints and Swamitis. So 3 examples are given in Bhagavad Gita. Sloka 38 of 3rd chapter. Dhumena vride vanni. That is, a fire sometime could be covered by smoke. This we can see in the Homagunda. It may appear that ashes and things are there, and it is covered by smoke also. But behind the smoke there will be fire. So here I have taken one more example of the cloud. When you, during daytime also, when you see the sky, sometime the cloud covers the sun. For cloud formation, sun is required. That is scientific thing. Water evaporates and forms. For evaporation of water, sun is required. But what happened? The cloud itself covers the sun, which was the reason for the formation of cloud itself. It's very often it happens. Clouds cover the sun. So here, what is the connection means? Here, the discriminative knowledge is covered by kama, or the self itself is covered by ignorance. These 2 aspects are there. Ignorance covering the self is higher studies, Vedanta. Now, the same example used for the discriminative knowledge is covered by kama. But 3 stages of the effort we put for removing the ignorance or this desire is also combined with our efforts that we will discuss separately. The second example is Adarsh and Mala. Means what? That is mirror and the dirt. Sometimes mirror will be there when we go in front of the mirror. If that mirror is not clean for a long time, dust formation will be there. So the dust will not enable us to see clearly our image. So the dust has to be cleaned with effort, sometimes with wet cloth. So this is another example given. Tada darsho malenacha. Then third one, ulba and fetus. Fetus is covered by the womb. So womb protects the fetus. The fetus is a living thing that is covered by the womb. So these three things are given example. The first example of smoke covering the fire. The smoke can be easily removed by blowing the air. That's what we do to make the fire available. So when we are having the Viveka Shakti, discriminating power, the individual discrimination can be easily applied to the mind by the intellect, informed intellect. Informed intellect with discriminating power can remove the individual discrimination. For example, if some item is seen in the market. So it is, though it is very attractive or maybe useful, or if you get it, you will be the only person, you will have it in your friend circle and everything. Okay, you may get a pride. So all these things that object will tell, a new mobile or new gadget. But intellect will definitely, informed intellect with the discrimination will tell. That's what discrimination. Do you really need it? By getting this, how much your life will improve? These are the discriminative questions we have to ask ourselves. And a Viveka mind will understand, oh, not required. It's very this thing. That is why this one of the commentary I heard. See, when they produce any gadget, they will see the prospective buyers. If the prospective buyers are in one city or anyway, whatever thing, where they are going to market, 1,000 people, they will circulate, they will market only 1/4. For example, just giving. If the prospective buyers are 1,000, they will not put 1,000 pieces in that, then demand will reduce. So arithmetically also, that's what marketing strategy. They will create demand. So what happens here, when a person does not have Viveka, they fall prey. So these all things should know, that is the way these marketing people do. So we should not fall prey to the things which we don't really need. So this kind of discrimination is possible. So once a person is having Viveka. The second one is that mirror and dirt requires more effort. More effort we are doing now. We are sharing the teaching of Bhagavad Gita. Once the Bhagavad Gita is completed, and if you really apply your mind and try to implement some of the aspects of Bhagavad Gita, definitely this discrimination power will increase. But for that, effort is required, just like cleaning the mirror. But third example, fetus and the womb, it requires some time, 9 months. Then only the baby comes out. Otherwise, it is not good, no? So, in some people, we have to have patience. It may be with respect to ourselves or with respect to another person who is in the pursuit. We should not think why that person is not improving, why that person is not improving. There is no need. When the person is in the pursuit, that itself is sufficient. So different people takes different time as per their understanding capacity and everything. And somewhere, so in some person, the time is required. So these three examples are answered by these three interpretations. Yeah. Now next question.
ज्ञानमेतेन ज्ञानिनो नित्यवैरिणा कामरूपेण कौन्तेय दुष्पूरेण मलेन च
Chapter 3. Verse 39. Knowledge is covered by this insatiable fire of desire, the constant enemy of the wise. Kaunteya, that is Arjuna. That's the translation.
So here, another example, fire itself is taken as an example. The fire cannot be pacified by feeding it. By feeding means what? The hunger is pacified by feeding. The same thing is not true for in case of fire. If you feed fire, it will be more ferocious, more and more ferocious. Either if you in the home also you can see, or in the uncontrolled fire also you can see. By feeding the fire, you can never quench or pacify it. The desire is also like that. Desire can never be fulfilled by feeding the desired objects. It's a beautiful example. Desire is taken, fire is taken and illustrated as an example for desire. And also the desires are classified into binding desires and non-binding desires. This we will see after the next sloka is also the same. These are all a group of slokas in the third chapter from 37 to 41.
Repeat. Indriyani mano buddhihi asyaadhishthanamuchyate etaiर्विमोहयत्येषः ज्ञानमावृत्य देहिनम्.
Chapter 3, verse 40. Its location is said to be the senses, mind and intellect. With these, it, that is Kama, deludes the person by covering his or her wisdom. That's the translation.
So now, this sloka analyzes where this Kama is located, situated. So, once its location is known, then it is easy to attack or work for removing it or neutralize it. So, the example is given in the commentary that the investigation authority, agencies or the really working CIDs and they know, they have got the record of seasoned criminals, because law is like that, no? They punish and for some time and they leave them for normal offences. So some criminals are pickpocketers, some criminals are chain snatchers, some criminals are housebreaking people. So like that, there will be a record in the agencies, investigating authorities. So when one theft happens, the investigating people go there and see the way the person has done the crime. In any of the cases like this, so they will go back and see the records. This kind of theft means these people may be there. Those people would have been there in the jail for some time and released. Then these investigating authorities have got a record of the criminals, how they spend their time. Some criminals will have gambling, some criminals will have some other kind of immoral activities. So the agencies will have this thing also, the type of criminal activities and also the criminal's way of spending the time. With these things, the investigation they carry out and try to catch the criminal and again put into prison in a good administrating government. Not now, I don't know what happens, police and everything. I don't want to tell anything. This is the way. So this kind of example is given for this desire also. The location of the desire, if you know, it is possible to address them. So uninformed intellect. We first told use the informed intellect. Now uninformed intellect and the emotional center and senses. These are the locations of this Kama. So once you know that the location, then it is possible to address, because uninformed intellect, you undergo the teaching and educate your intellect and make it informed intellect. Then that is the main thing which can be used to control the senses as well as the mind. So this is the way it is expressed, and the final 41st sloka is there, I think, in this group. Yeah, that also will go finish.
Repeat. Tasmat Swanindriyanyadau Niyamya Bharatarshava Atmanam Pradahityenam Jnana Vijnana Nashanam.
Chapter 3, verse 41. Therefore, Arjuna, the foremost in the clan of Bharata, controlling the senses at the outset, destroy indeed the sinner, the destroyer of knowledge and wisdom. That's the translation.
So this is the last sloka of this group of lust or desire, whatever you call. Lust is a very forceful desire. So here it is told that it is a papma. Again it is told it is sinner because it impels you, it forces you to do adharmic actions. So it has to be controlled. And in this binding and non-binding desire, I told this slightly I'll tell. The binding desire will bother you if it is not fulfilled. But using the informed intellect, and the intellect has to be learned using the teaching, we can have non-binding legitimate desires. There's no problem. So that is what the non-binding desire means. What? First of all, the desire should be legitimate. Then binding means if it is fulfilled, it will also come in one of the sloka. We will get excited. If it is not fulfilled, we will get depressed. That is what binding desire. But once we understand this this teaching, that we can have legitimate non-binding desires, but binding desires we have to avoid, or make the legitimate desires non-binding. That is what Gita's teaching will be there from the next class onwards. It is a process is there how to convert the legitimate desires binding to non-binding. Binding is normal people's, ignorant people. The wisdom will be there for the legitimate desires will be non-binding. That's what this sloka is telling. Jnana Vijnana Nasana. Knowledge and wisdom both will not happen if the binding desires are there. So binding desires should be converted into non-binding, but desires should be first of all legitimate. Non-binding desires we can have. This is the group of sloka is over. Then as per the time available, we will complete 2 more slokas in the second chapter itself, 62 and 63. That is where this desire leads to anger in a 8-step ladder. Time?
8:50.
So next sloka. 62nd sloka of second chapter.
Dhyayato Vishayan Pumsaha Sangaseshu Sajayate Sangat Sanjayate Kamaha Kamat Krodho Vijayate.
Chapter 2, verse 62. In the person who dwells upon objects, an attachment is born with reference to them. From attachment is born desire, and from desire, anger is born. That's the translation.
Repeat.
Now, these 2 slokas combined anyway, but separately we can discuss. See how this 8-step things from karma, it goes up to the finally ruin a person. Starting is the binding desire. This is all binding desire. That is, it may be legitimate also, but here only it comes. Not only that legitimate desires can be allowed just like that, and they start binding us. We should have the legitimate desires but non-binding. So if we desire comes, it may be in the form of an item, object, or possession, port, obligation, person, obligation, relationship, or transactions. So see, this is possible in A. The desire means not only object. Some people are having desire for some kind of transactions, some kind of obligations, some kind of possessions, and some kind of relationship. So what happens once the desire thought comes? See, that there's a difference between bad thought and desire thought. See, bad thought we can divert. Once this small yoga program and MMT program and is okay. When the bad thought comes, enter into some action, so that bad thought need not be analyzed, and don't give power to the bad thought. That is what our MMT says. It comes from the vasana. But desire thought is a different. It comes from outside also, no? World. So that is more powerful. So they may pull you, like we saw the boat example and everything. So here, when the desire thought comes, the people start meditating on the thought. Jayado Vishayan Pumsa. The person thoughts meditation on that. Then what happens? That desire get attached. Once attachment comes, we are already hooked to that object or person or transaction or that application. Once the attachment comes, then that is the origin, that is the starting point of the problem. Because emotional freedom goes away, mind gets preoccupied. These two things is sufficient, no? Emotional freedom going and the mind gets preoccupation, then you don't have time for all these things. Because this is not only 1 hour in a week, no? If you listen to all these things only once in 1 hour in a week, it is only to know what all there in Gita. I told you already. That is endless. But you have to, transformation is required, means you have to start implementing all these things, practicing all these things. This classes, up to this 5 class also, next class also, there are a lot of things to implement and practice, sadhanas. Afterwards only knowledge. But knowledge can take place only if you are prepared. So now positioning, next class, 1 class, if you finish up preparatory procedure, okay. There's no much thing in the teaching. Do this, do this, do this, do this only. Now these are also do this only. You have to do this. You have to implement and make the mind eligible for the inward journey. So that will happen only after this 5 classes and 1 or 2 preparatory classes. So here, these are all the things. First, desire what? Binding desire, then meditation, then attachment, then that will lead to anger. So this sloga is 2 steps are there. That is attachment. First is desire, then meditation on the desire, then attachment. Then attachment, when it comes, if it doesn't happen, either you will get angry with others who are in between your desire and that object, or you will get angry with yourself. That is very dangerous. That's why people lose interest. Because of some thing. Now, desire means what? Desire means for getting rid of something also. If tension happens or anxiety happens, to get this desire, to get rid of that. So instead of doing what is to be done, there only people make mistake. When we tell, do this from the point of yoga, they have to do this. Pranayama. But they don't do. Then how they will get rid of the anxiety? So these things are there. Then they get frustration, tension, stress and depression. This is one way. The same thing, no? The 4th thing. So over dissatisfaction with yourself is depression. So those things are there in the 4 things are covered in this sloga. The next sloga also corrected, no? So we'll try to finish it. Then if necessary, we will try to take this same sloga if necessary in the next class. Otherwise, we will break the chain now. Next sloga also we'll finish.
सम्मोहात् स्मृतिविभ्रमः स्मृतिभ्रंशात् बुद्धिनाशः बुद्धिनाशात् प्रणश्यति
Chapter 2, verse 63. From anger comes delusion, and from delusion comes the loss of memory. Because of the loss of memory, the mind becomes incapacitated, and when the mind is incapacitated, the person is destroyed. That's the translation.
So, krodha bhavati sammoha. That is, anger leads to delusion. The blackout. Blackout happens in the mind. Because all the things which you have learned, moral things and everything will be covered in the blackout. You will not know what is correct, what is wrong, either speaking or physical action or mental thinking. All the three things will be opposite because of the delusion. Delusion is one of the very bad thing now. Then because of that, memory gets masked, inhibited. Smriti Vibhrama. When that happens, what is left over? Because once it is again, it happens, then the person ruins himself or herself. Ruining in different way. Either fall prey to the binding desires and get spoiled by physically, mentally, all addiction and everything, or go to depression and get angry with yourself, and people do some things and everything. No, I don't want to. So that is what? Ruin oneself. And what is this? All this happening, and the goal of life is forgotten, the direction has gone wrong. So Bhagavad Gita gives you the direction and goal. So these are the things, positioning ourselves so that the preparatory techniques will be more convenient. There we will take up the positive aspects, what are the things we have to do from next class. So this 3 more slokas we planned it, I think nearing 9 o'clock. Huh?
Yeah.
So 3 more slokas, that is very important slokas that we will take up in the next class. Then we will go to the preparatory procedure. These 3 slokas are, that is bodily discipline, then speech discipline, then mind discipline. 17th chapter, sloka 14, 15, 16. We already circulated, but because of already 9 o'clock, we don't want to extend now. We will stop this and then we will continue in the next class. Now we will end with the prayer. Then we will take up anything. Questions may not be there, but still, if any feedback if you want to give, you can give. Yeah, we will end up the session. Om Namaha Purnamidam Purnat
Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Guru Namaha. Hari Om.